I love that you looked around, you saw something didn't exist, and you took the initiative to build it yourself, right? I think that that's one of the biggest things that people struggle with in building their careers, that they go, well, it doesn't exist, or it exists in a way where I don't know how to get in that door or meet those people, or maybe it's like I'm in Virginia and it's in California or something like that, right? And um, being able to just take a step back and and take that ownership and being able to do that, I think is really incredible. How did you fit that in around your full-time job and your life responsibilities? Like, how did you end up making that work? Because I think that's one of the things that scares people so much.
Luckily, I had a very unique experience at that particular time. Like I said, it was 2008, 2009, right at the beginning of the last recession. So I got a life lesson that I don't think a lot of people get to have. So, what that life lesson was, I had already heard the directions: go to school, work hard, get good grades, get a good job, work hard, like get promoted, don't rock the boat, make sure you're good at your work. And I did that super hard, and that didn't fucking matter. So I still, lost my job. I still had to deal with the recession. I still had a period of time where I didn't make any money. I still had to like get into the situation where everything that I worked for and planned my future around sort of disintegrated. And I had to accept that, and I had to move on, and I had to explore what that meant. And during that time, that's when I really, sort of developed Sugar Gamers. So it was, a lot of entrepreneurs, they have that a lot of fear jumping off the cliff, like, uncertainty. What if I don't get a paycheck? I dealt with the last recession. So, like, I got a crash course in getting over those fears really fast. And since then, a lot of my friends are always surprised when I'm just able to leave a job that I'm no longer suited for, that no longer inspires me or enriches my life. So I could just leave because there is so many other ways to live besides just check to check. So it allowed me a lot more space, I would say, than most people during that time to just like sort of explore. It's like, hey, well, this thing that I put all of my time and energy and resources into didn't work, and I failed, and it wasn't completely my fault, but it my plans didn't work out. So what next? And so how about incorporate something that I've loved my whole life? Like, how about going into video games and see what happens? And that's what I've been doing these last 12 years. I've went back to real estate here and there, but for the most part, I've taken jobs that teach me what the industry is all about. I've learned new skills. I've, done those things. So I think that, for me, just having that experience of navigating that last recession was sort of a big sort of catalyst for how I approach working in my career, for sure.
And that really does seem to be the case for a lot of folks. Whenever I get on the phone with someone who was recently laid off, what I find consistently over and over again is they go, man, I've just been waiting for this to happen. I've been waiting for someone else to do this for me so that I could actually go explore some of the ideas that I've been putting off because I was comfortable or because I, didn't want to rock the boat and get in trouble. And I think a lot of people are scared when they work at a company to do the things that they like to do outside of work because they don't want to be perceived in unprofessional ways or different. I'm sure that's changing now with the rise of TikToks and personal brands, all the stuff that's going on. But I think generally speaking, sometimes people need a push, and I know that when I went through some hard experiences, like that's where the resilience comes from. And so to hear you just like continue to build that over time, and then realize that maybe early on it was something that you had to go through that wasn't expected, but then in the future you now have the grit to be able to choose when those moments happen and to be like, nope, this is now I get to walk away. That's really cool. When you were going through all of this, um, I'm really interested. in the media company, like that advice you got to build a media company. Why was that the advice? What is it about building a media company or building a brand that makes things easier or better or more efficient?
Well, I didn't know at the time what building a brand meant. I just, it seemed like decent advice: create a website, write some articles, do some game reviews, interview some individuals. It seemed like something that was accessible in my particular skill set at the time. So I'm like, this doesn't seem that hard. And if you wanted to go to an event, you can apply as media, and then you wouldn't have to pay for it. And I was just like, oh, because I would see all these conventions and these events, and I'm like, I can't afford to go there. I can't afford that ticket. I can't afford. And then having the media company, even though, like, hands down, I didn't know what I was doing, but having that media company just forced me to, constantly solve problems. Like, it no longer was about money, it was about narrative. It was about connection. It was about learning, and language. So that opened up a lot of doors for me, that I think that had I not done the media company first, I would have not gotten to where I am, because it taught me how to be resourceful. It taught me how to be, like, how to do my research to really demonstrate respect, um, to the people that were already in the space. Like, people who've worked hard and really put a lot of effort into whatever they created or to into their career really appreciate when they're seen for their contribution to an industry. And you can go so much further just maintaining these very human relationships and highlighting people that normally don't get those sort of accolades. And it was really nice to have that platform, or to have created a platform where it's like, yeah, I'm not going to be interviewing the most famous people in the world, but I'm going to find people that I think are deserving of being highlighted, and just creating those relationships, understanding, these people's, their contributions, their works, their talent. Um, in my opinion, was the what made the media company work relevant, rather. So not only that, in 2009 there weren't a lot of black owned video game media companies doing what I was doing, and they're really hard to maintain. It definitely is a labor of love, and yeah, but at the same time, it was like, if I would have known that I had the courage to make this media company, I would have never went to college, because the what I learned in those first few years of running Sugar Gamers was substantially more important and more imperative to my career than anything that I really got out of school. So that was my education. To me, that's what everything that I invested in that moment was my education of, like, if there was a such thing as a video game industry degree, that's what school I put myself through.